Hello YouTube, this is Alignment Games and welcome to my 2 to 3 part series of how to make a full game from not just from going from point A to point B, but having all these extra features with such and such as enemies, ob objects, uh, levels, and to have a game with multiple, you could say dynamics. And for the first part of this video, I'm going to do a simple structure of how to make a game just to go from point A to point B from beginning to the end for an example. So for this one I have is a simple game just to, get you started. This is a game that, you control your character, has barriers and whatnot, and you can have a goal where you can go through a door or a end goal, and it will get you to the end of the game. But for this series, I'm gonna make it so you can go through another level and just keep adding more and more things to it to make a more complete game. So by the end of this video, we'll get something like this for starters. So to begin, if you have Blender, which is a good program to use, open it up, and when you get this screen, the first thing you want to do is delete everything that's on screen. So double tap the A key on your computer, and after that press the X key and you want to hit delete. So the first thing you want to do as a starter is add a plane, and what you want to do is hit the S key to scale it a fairly decent size, and then to help organize and distinguish things, go to materials and make a new one and add a color. So for this case, let's do blue. So then after you get your field, then you want to do is make a new cube, and this is going to be our player key, our main player, and go ahead and add a material for him. So let's do let's do green. Green is a decent color, make it a little bit dark, and scale up a little bit more. You want to place them somewhere. Okay, now you want to be able to control your character. So in the bottom portion of Blender, where you have what is known as the keyframe animation sequence, go right to the bottom left and switch it up to the logic editor, and then you'll be presented with the screen. And what you want to do is go to right here where it says add sensor, give it 4 keyboards, 4, and then for the add actuator, you want to give it 4 motions, and this is going to be our character movement. Oops. Okay, make it bigger so you can see. And then for simple controls of moving back, forth, left, right, so the first one, add a W. Second one, we're going to add a S. Third one, I'm going to add an A. And the fourth one, I'm going to add a Z. And then from here, you just connect it to one another. You can shrink this down. Oops. Make it organized. Damn. Okay, now the first one is forward, and this is on this y-axis, so go ahead and if I'm correct, increase it. So this one is the S key, and that's on the x-axis, so presume to increase it. This the A, so you decrease this one. And then for the last one for Z, so let me make sure. Oh, and make sure that on the top from Blender Render, it's Blender Games, so you can work. And yeah, it's working decent. So that works. And so since you have that, to begin with, we want to add a sort of like a barrier, so to keep the character in place, so he doesn't fall off the map for anything. If anything were to happen when you move it, or if an enemy were to hit him and he falls off the map. So just create a simple wall barrier, just so that makes it okay. It could be fairly decent size, doesn't have to be big or anything. It's just something to keep it so a character stays within the map, and you want to go ahead and duplicate it. If such, and then duplicate again. Now press N to give you this sub menu bar, and you want to rotate it. Nope. Huh. Okay, 90 degrees. Then put it forward like so, and duplicate it one more time and put it in the other side. Now, it's a good idea to go ahead and after organize it so that the player has no way of getting out, to click on all of them by shift and right click, and then hit Control J to join them, and then add a material to distinguish it. So then now your player has no way of, oops. One more thing is to also add a dynamic, no, not dynamic, sensor, and then hit a collision bound. No. Oh yeah. So one thing we forgot to do was to add a physical type of a character, so that way the game and the objects will distinguish it as the main character, which allows it to add collision bounds and give it a dynamic feature also to it, and to recognize it as an actual player. So now when you hit the walls, everything doesn't the walls doesn't allow the character to move out of the bound. So so once you added that, next thing you want to do is to add a sort of like a end goal, or a uh, sort of like a checkpoint, or to distinguish to say that you beat the level. So in this one, we're going to add another cube, and we're going to scale it to a fairly decent size to recognize it, and put it right here. Now, excuse me. Now this is the part where you have to make sure that the character goes through it and the game recognizes it as a way to end this level. So you're gonna have to add will be a collision sensor here, and then for the actuator you want to do a game, and then you want to change right here to quit. No, in this case let's make it quick game. Yeah, and then connect them. Okay, and then tap it, and right here we're going to put player, because now and for our character we're going to add a game property, and we're going to change the name of it to player, and you can change this to booleans. And then now if we see if everything's correct, the game will end when the player touches it. Another thing I sometimes notice when you're working on when I work on a game or when I see someone else working is that sometimes your character block won't actually would hit the end point right here, and sometimes the character would just probably go through it or it won't work. And a thing that helps me, and I notice it, is if you go when you select the checkpoint and you go to the last one, which is the physics type, and you scroll over to collision bound. It's a good idea to check it just so that the game would recognize the size of the object, and when it comes in contact with the character block, it would recognize it, and that way it makes it easier to register as an end game. And for last, also to add a material again to distinguish it, make it red. So as of right now, you basically covered how to get started with a game by adding a character with 4 basic movement commands. We added a barrier so the character can stay in place, and we put a end goal, which is a way to end the level. And for the next part, I'm gonna show you how to enhance the game by adding a couple of different features, make it more dynamic in its way. And until then, thanks for watching, and I hope you like, comment, subscribe. This is Alignment Games, and thanks for watching.